About our public meeting on Tuesday at the Chase to discuss fighting back against the tax on council tax benefit and also on the bedroom tax with the intention of building a local anti-bedroom tax campaign in the area. The government has implemented a massive change in council tax benefits. They've abolished the national scheme and with 10% less funding on average, have introduced a local scheme, or told councils that they can all introduce a local scheme, or must introduce a local scheme, with that less money. And their attack on council tax benefits is one, obviously to cut public spending and make working people pay for the crisis of the bosses system. But they're also determined to attack the whole concept of the welfare state. And as has already been said, they don't care about the massive tax breaks that go to their friends in big business and the fact that the head of the HMRC got a job with Deloitte in the last few days, despite the fact this is a person who came to a sweetheart deal with Vodafone a year or so ago, which meant they got off lightly from paying the tax and the interest that they owed the Exchequer. But what we have to say is it's all very well for the Labour politicians in the council house with a crushing Labour majority to say the attack on council tax benefits is wrong, because we know it's wrong. But what they then decided they were going to do was to introduce a charge of a minimum of 20% council tax for anyone who was currently getting council tax benefit. In other words, if you were getting your full council tax benefit paid or full council tax paid, you'd have to pay 20%. Now the government feared there would be a poll tax style rebellion, and we can see that developing with the bedroom tax, and introduced transitional relief so that this year the cut is only 8.5%. But we would say in our campaign that the duty of a Labour council is not to make people pay council tax when they are on benefit, but is actually to stand up for working people and oppose the government attack and fight for fully funded councils with fully funded benefit scheme and the return of the needs-based benefit scheme. So our campaign is arguing we don't want to be divided between people who are paying the bedroom tax and people who are forced to pay the council tax, because it can be the same people anyway. We don't say cut other funds in other parts of the city to fund council tax benefit. We say no cuts in all welfare state, no cuts in services, and for a Labour council to stand up for working people and at the same time to say it should refuse to evict anyone who cannot afford to pay their rent because of the attacks of austerity.
Thanks very much, Gary. I think this is really important that we link all the campaigns together fighting the cuts in welfare benefits. I've got a couple more speakers I know of, both are men. I'm just going to ask if there are any women that want to come up and speak, because there haven't been many women on the platform, on the microphone. Anyone else want to come up?
It's great to see so many of you here. It's a shame it's not 10,000, but I think we have to, we have to take away from this, and we have to continue to build a mass demonstration, a mass movement that is going to tackle the attacks on our class, the bedroom tax and everything else successfully and to victory, really. I'm going to plug my own campaign here now, because I work for an organisation called the Independent Living Fund. I'm a PCS member and a PCS rep at the Independent Living Fund, and in 2010 the government decided that the Independent Living Fund that offers or gives financial awards to the more severely disabled people in society. It gives financial awards to enable them to live independently in the community. So it's over and above the support that local authorities give, which, to be fair, is very, very basic and very, very minimal, and sometimes it's not much more than getting people out of bed, getting them fed and wiping their arses, to put it bluntly. The sort of support that we allow means people can buy independence, they can get out into the community, they can take part in community activities, they can go to education, they can go to work, and they can do everything that you and I broadly speaking, take for granted. In 2010, they decided they were going to close that permanently to new applications, and they decided just before Christmas last year, so Merry Christmas to all those disabled users, those 20,000 disabled users that are relying on our service for independence. They decided in December 2012 that they were going to completely close the Independent Living Fund, completely wrap it up by 2015. What they did say at that time, that it was about fairness. It's not fair that people using the Independent Living Fund get more support, get more care, get more independence than people that are just getting support from their local authority. So what this is about, in fact, is a race to the bottom. It's about everybody getting next to nothing, whilst the bankers, whilst the very rich, get 5% tax cut, and a massive cut that's coming down again in the capital gains tax that these companies get. One of the most disgusting documents that I think I've read in recent months, and some people may agree with me, it's the Sunday Times Rich List that gets published every year. And what that demonstrates is that the very richest people in this country have increased their wealth to the tune of billions of pounds. And it's at the same time when they're telling us that they need to close the Independent Living Fund because they can't afford it. They need to impose this bedroom tax because, of course, we can't afford it. This is in the 7th richest country in the world, and we can't afford to give a decent standard of living to disabled people in our society. It's absolutely, clearly wrong. Thanks for kind of indulging me, and thanks for letting me plug my campaign. I just want to give it one more plug, really. There has been some activity around the closure of the Independent Living Fund, and there's a group of disabled people Against Cuts, you may have heard of them, that are fighting hard. They've been to court and they've lost. They're going to appeal against that, and they're going to go to court again, and hopefully they're going to get a win. But we know as trade unionists and activists, that we on the left don't do very well where the law is concerned, because the law isn't about protecting us, it's about protecting wealth, and it's about protecting privilege. So whilst it's great that there is a legal challenge to this, there's a legal fight, what we've got to do is unite and fight it. That's the way to do it. The bedroom tax and the attacks on welfare benefits generally, the attacks on the Independent Living Fund, the attacks on disabled people, they are all part of the same hypocrisy that is austerity. That's what we need to fight, that's what we need to unite around. There is an alternative. We invest in jobs, we invest in social housing, and more importantly, we get rid of these people. We get rid of the Tories, we get rid of the whole system that supports this. Thanks very much indeed for coming today.
In the campaign against workfare, and they've been having a protest.
It's down at the Framework offices around the corner. Framework are a homeless charity who've been using workfare for the last 6 months a year. We're going to ask them politely not to take part in the workfare programme because it's forcing people to work for their benefits. Cheers, it'd be great to see you along.
And you've got the details of that, and we are going to have Pete. He's going to put out a general call for solidarity, which is great. So we'll finish on that good note, I think.
Beautiful day. It's a beautiful day, isn't it? No, it isn't. Because the sun might be shining and it all might be nice and warm, we've got our summer gear on, but it ain't a beautiful day because over this city, over this country, over Europe and over the whole world hangs a black cloud. And that black cloud is called austerity. And it rains down on all of us. It rains down on you guys in the shape of the bedroom tax. It rains down on you guys in the shape of benefit and welfare cuts. It rains down on the public sector employees who fear for their jobs. It rains down on the private sector employees who austerity is used as an excuse to continually savage their terms and conditions. It rains down on our NHS, which is being systematically privatised, and it rains down on our public services, which are being dismantled. Now, if one group of us blow, the black cloud will stay there. But if we all blow together, we'll blow the black cloud away. And that's what I'm talking about. I can talk all day long about how awful austerity is. I can talk all day long about how awful the bedroom tax is and the terrible effects it's having on our people and on our communities. But what I want want to talk about is how we can fight back and how we can win. And we can only win by sticking together. It's no good saying public sector cuts, pension cuts, NHS cuts. They're not my problem. I'm here to fight the bedroom tax. And expecting the people who are being cut in the NHS, the people whose pensions are being cut, the people whose other welfares are being cut, to come and fight for you, because we've all got to fight together. There's one austerity, there's one problem, and there's only one fight. And it is a fight for every one of us. It's a fight for us all to stick together. Public sector workers to stick together. Private sector workers to stick together. The employed, the old, people who are affected by bedroom tax, people who have homes, people who own homes, people who rent homes. We are all under the black cloud of austerity, and only by sticking together and fighting it together can we beat it. So ladies and gentlemen, I have one appeal to you. Turn out against the bedroom tax, but turn out in numbers against every aspect of austerity, because one day we can face these brothers and sisters together, because they always want to divide us up. That's what they want to do. They want to divide us up. They want to blame each other. Let me explain it in terms of a piece of cake, right? Imagine I take out a piece of cake. It's this big. It's this big. And I say, who wants a piece of cake? And I give you a piece of cake. 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 And eventually this piece of cake gets this big. It's all gone, and you've all got a piece about this big. And you look at your plate and you say, is that all the cake I've got? Is that all the cake I've got? And then we all start to ask the wrong questions. You say, has he got a piece of cake because he works in the public sector, his cake's bigger than mine? Is his cake bigger than mine because he's an immigrant and I'm native English? Is her cake bigger than mine because she's a woman? Is his cake bigger than mine because she's black? All these things. We never ask the right question. We never ask the right question, and the right question is, excuse my language, where's the rest of the fucking cake? You know, I gave you a piece this big. I've taken away the whole rest of the cake and I'm eating it myself. So we don't fall out amongst ourselves, we don't squabble amongst ourselves about our movie share of the cake. We turn around to our masters together, shoulder to shoulder, and say, we help to bake this cake, we demand to partake in the full cake. The full cake, ladies and gentlemen, and we've got to stand together and demand the full cake, because the day we all stand up and stop doffing our caps and saying, yes sir, no sir, it's his fault sir, it's his fault sir, the day we stand together and say, no sir, we're not doing that, we look them squarely in the eyes, we'll see the colour drain from the rosy public schoolboy cheeks, we'll see the fear in the face that they've inflicted on us, and we'll know that the tides have turned, and we are going to fight back, and we are going to win. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Thanks, Richard. I should have done it when I was up last, but just ever so quickly, the Well campaign is the war on welfare. It's a campaign to prevent the vicious attacks and vicious cuts on welfare benefits. There is